I don't think advertisers are ever going to get completely out of podcasting. But I do think there's a reckoning coming for podcast advertising, and it might sting. Hello and welcome to another Podcast Pontifications with me, Evo Terra. This is part 6 of my 10-part miniseries on the future of podcasting, and I'm going to get into advertising today. Now, maybe your show doesn't have ads on it, but you understand that right now, a lot of money, somewhere around the $500 million mark, was spent last year on podcast advertising, and that's projected to go up and up over time. And it's for a very good reason. Many of the advertisers on there feel, keyword feel, that advertising on a podcast is more effective than some of the other mediums that they use. A host read, the live host read ad is a popular format, gets more in depth, they listen more, they consume it. So goes the theory. But the reason I say that I think that this podcast advertising bubble is in jeopardy, same reason I've called it for a long time. It's the fact that it's way too complicated to make these buys. Yeah. That's a part of it. Is it that it's too expensive? Maybe. But I think what it really comes down to is the reality that maybe this isn't working as well as we thought, and those feelings about how successful it is either aren't true, or if they are true, it just gets very difficult to scale. Now, that's the challenge that I think podcast advertising is facing, and the reason why I say that I think it's going to sting is it could have a chilling effect on all of podcasting. I mean, right now, a large number of the new content that is being made, a large percentage of it is coming from professional houses that want a piece of those ad dollars. They're investing hundreds of thousands of dollars to make podcast content so that it's attractive to would-be advertisers, so they can grab a portion of that $500 million market. But the challenge is that's speculation. Those creators are speculating that they can make the kind of content that's going to attract the advertisers. But I think that on the opposite side of that, we have these advertisers wanting to get into the market more and want to spend more and want to do things quicker, more efficiently than are currently allowed for by podcast advertising circa 2019. Someone's going to recognize that imbalance, that there are advertisers who wish to be on podcasts but can't be on podcasts because of the scale issue. Some enterprising person is going to come along and solve that. And when they do, more advertising will be available. However, it likely won't be in the current format we see today. It likely won't be the live host read that is currently generating the most feels of quality and, responsibility. What's doing the best things? Because that can't scale. So whatever the new options are will likely be much less effective than that. They'll be what they lack in efficiency, they'll make up for in scale. Which means the advertisers can have less performance, but they can be spread across a much wider field, probably for less money. And that effectively means less money because for you, unless, of course, you're running a podcast network where you've got 100 different shows. But if you don't, that means you actually might get less of the pie. Or the advertisers out there, the publishers out there where the advertisers are putting their content might have less of that pie. It's a bigger pie, but more spread around. You can't eat a whole pie. You only get the slice served to you. Your slices might be smaller. The other problem with this paradigm is that these more efficient but less effective ads are more annoying to users. More annoying to users means less response from users, which means less valuation of those advertisements themselves and less that the advertisers are willing to pay for. It's a rough and tumble cycle. And I think my biggest fear for all of us in podcasting, again, even those of us who do not run ads on their shows, is that the quality is going to, let me change the way I say that. The people who are able to create really good quality content, the companies, the big companies out there that are willing to invest money in this space, in this podcasting space, are really only doing so to attract advertisers. Then there's a problem if that doesn't work out. If the come line doesn't actually fall through. If, in fact, some enterprising person is able to take a look and say, we've analyzed the numbers. Here's how much we're spending on ads. Here's what our returns are. And they're less than they thought. Just like our returns are less than they thought when we do influencer marketing. Because podcast advertising resembles a lot influencer marketing. And that industry is already suffering. What happens when those repercussions come over to us? So I think in the future, we will see the advertising landscape change, but I don't think it's going to be for the better. I don't know what that means for us overall. I think what it really means is we need different revenue models. We need some other option other than advertising. As I said at the beginning, advertising is never getting completely out of podcasting. But I don't think it's always going to be the lion's share. I think there'll be other ways which are more likely to generate success, that are less speculative in nature. That's what I think. We'll see what really happens, because the future will come one way or another. Maybe all of my pessimism after 15 years in the advertising business will prove that was just, pessimism. I'm hopeful that I'm wrong on one thing here. This has been part 6 of my 10-part miniseries, 3 things before I bail and work on the next episode. Go to flick.group/podcast pontifications if you want to join others who are in a private little community, totally free, chatting up the show and other sorts of things. Buymeacoffee.com/evoterra is how you can show your love for the show. And if, in fact, you are in business or know someone in business who needs help figuring out the future for podcasting and as it relates to their business, please get in touch with me. evo@podcastlaunch.pro. Go to podcastlaunch.pro to see a list of all the services we offer clients all around the globe. And I shall be back tomorrow with yet another Podcast Pontifications. Cheers!